Lehman Brothers is going bankrupt, and financial markets from Asia to Europe are doing their utmost to prevent Monday from turning from dark to black. Employees of America's fourth largest investment bank saw the writing on the wall late Sunday after talks to pull them back from the abyss collapsed. British firm Barclays Bank said no thanks, while Bank of America decided instead to help another struggling bank, Merrill Lynch, in a merger deal worth over $50 billion. The U.S. government said it won't bail out Lehman, which last week announced more than $3.9 billion in losses. Shares in Lehman Brothers have plummeted more than 80% in 2008 alone.
Lehman, like so many other investment banks and banks, really got, quite frankly, caught up in the housing bubble. But like every bubble, the bubble ended, and now we're seeing the downside of that bubble.
Following the same risky practices that sunk former giants Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, Lehman also had a hand in securing America's high-risk subprime mortgages, believing that the popularity and sheer volume of those loans would net huge gains. But it didn't. Borrowers saturated the U.S. housing market, taking on enormous mortgages in spite of poor credit history. As the economy cooled, Americans found themselves with less cash to spend. Higher fuel prices did not help. The result was that more Americans began missing their monthly mortgage payments. As Lehman Brothers secured many of those mortgages, the result was more than $60 billion in losses. Lehman Brothers now go to court, where a judge will take control of the bank until its assets are sold. The implications could be profound.
Everybody in the West, at least, owns, a lot of people have got pensions, and these pensions invest in stock market, and a lot of the shares are actually the shares of banks. And when bank shares get hammered, people's pensions get hammered, so everybody loses. When big banks like Lehman go under, the housing market is going to suffer again. House prices are going to fall in America and Britain, in Europe and so on. That's going to again hit millions of ordinary people.
Meanwhile, as markets everywhere react, the bottom to America's financial woes appear nowhere in sight. 10 of the world's biggest banks have set up a $70 billion emergency fund to help stabilize the market, and they may need it. Reports that American insurance giant AIG is also seeking a U.S. government bailout will only compound Lehman's fallout. Monday will be a difficult day to face for Lehman's thousands of shareholders and more than 25,000 employees. Many had hoped this day would never come. Clayton, Swisher, Al Jazeera.